Recently I noticed traces of water leaks on the exhaust pipes. Upon closer inspection, I saw the paint of them was blistered and peeling off in some places. Corrosion was actively destroying the exhaust pipes. If there are traces of water leaks inside the boat, then the holes are already through, and these pipes need to be replaced urgently. But the problem is in this engine. The exhaust pipe can only be removed with the engine removed, and the engine can only be removed after the outdrive is removed. It's not easy to decide to do repairs yourself when you have to remove two engines and two outdrives. But there are no choice. I just need to prepare well, buy the necessary spare parts, and have right tools. So first I make an overpass over the water to get to the drives. And as always, it all starts with removing the props. The drive is quite heavy, I can't remove it by hand, so I made this cart from old cargo dolly that had been hanging in my garage for years, and now I needed it. Now I remove the plastic cover, which is attached with 5 bolts. Next I remove the cotter pins and pull out the pins that hold the hydraulic cylinders. I disconnect the shift cable and unscrew all the attachments from it. I talked about this in detail in another video called Shift Cable Replacement on my YouTube channel. I disconnect the drive oil sensor. Now there are only 6 nuts left that hold the drive. I have to be very careful with these bolts and nuts, so as not to drop them in the water. They are made of stainless steel, and it's almost impossible to get them out of the bottom with a magnet. I'll have to use new ones in this case. I unscrewed 3 nuts on the right, now 3 more on the left. So far not a single nut has fallen. That's good. Everything is unscrewed, and I'll try to remove the drive. It wasn't very easy, but anyway, I got it off, and now I'm gonna take it to the garage. I do the same actions with the starboard drive. First, I remove the props. Then I remove the plastic covering. I remove the cotter pins. Disconnect the shift cable. Pull out the cotter pins that hold the cylinders in place. Put the drive on the cart. And now I can unscrew the drive itself. The same 6 nuts, 3 on the left and 3 on the right side. The starboard side drive wasn't easy to remove either. It took me several tries to get it off. Now both drives are removed and I can work on the engines. First, I have to raise the engine compartment hatch higher. To do this, I secure the hatch with a stick and replace the linear actuator with a longer one. I bought it on eBay for $110. With this actuator, I can lift and position the hatch vertically, so that it doesn't interfere with me lifting the engines. To keep the hatch from falling forward or backward, I prop it up with a stick and tie it with a ratchet strap. I'll secure it differently later, but for now this is how it's done. I am removing the actuator, so that nothing gets in my way. Now I'm unscrewing the front engine mounts. There are 4 bolts on both mounts. I figured this would be easier than unscrewing the engine from the mounts. I should make marks on where the supports are located, so that I can later put the engine in exactly the same place. There are also 2 rear supports, 1 nut on each. They came off easily. Now I have to disconnect a few connectors and some power wires. Positive 12 volts and negative 12 volts. The good thing is that almost all the connectors are different, so it's impossible to mix them up. But there are also some identical connectors. I just labeled them, so it's clear which one goes where. I disconnect the gear shift mechanism and unscrewed it. I also had to replace the shift cable later, because it was in terrible condition. Now I'll also disconnect the raw water intake pipe that cools the engine. I am unscrewing a few power wires by touch. The negative 12 volt wires. I can only see them through a mirror, so I can show this process. To disconnect the engine from the exhaust pipe, I unscrew the clamps on the bellows and pull bellows down onto the exhaust pipe. This applies to both sides of the engine, left and right. I am currently installing supports for the wooden structure I'll use to lift the engine. The rear support is smaller and the front one is larger. I am installing this support so they won't slide apart when I lift the engine. This is what the finished wooden stand looks like from both sides. I considered several options for raising the engine, varying in complexity and cost. I chose the cheapest method. I also decided not to remove it completely from the boat, but simply slide it forward to gain access to the exhaust pipe. With this leveler, I'll move the engine forward. I'll use this chain hoist to lift the engine. And the third part of my crane is another leveler. I needed to ensure the engine hangs straight and doesn't lean to one side. Otherwise, it will be difficult to lift and later install it back. I set everything to its initial positions for lifting. I secure the engine with two chains to the cargo eyes. The first attempt to lift it, and I immediately see the engine is lifting to one side only. I have to level it. The hoist is new, and the chain passes with difficulty. The engine is hanging. I can try to move it. It's hanging, but crookedly. It has to be aligned better. This time it's better. It moves well and doesn't catch on anything. These are the front mounts, and these are the rear ones. The engine hasn't moved enough yet, but I still have some room to move it. There is still not enough space to unscrew and remove the exhaust pipe. It's better now. There is not much space, but it's enough for me to get in there with the wrenches. This is what the place I need to get to looks like from above. And now I can start the main work of replacing the exhaust pipe. The top two bolts are easily removed, but the bottom ones can only be seen with a mirror. And finally, I managed to pull out this pipe. Yes, I read that right. There are holes under the blistered paint. So, when the engine is running, exhaust gases enter the engine compartment through these holes. And when the engine is not running, seawater entered through these same holes. Not bad. What else can I say? I remove the old gasket and thoroughly clean the seat. To make it more reliable, I coat it with high temperature silicone and install a new gasket. To make it easier to install the pipe, I screw studs into the two lower holes. They will serve as guides. I also coat the pipe's matting surface with high temperature silicone. It won't make things worse. The studs work really well. The pipe gets into its place immediately, and I could easily tighten the top bolts. Next, I unscrew the studs from below and screw bolts into their places. The new pipe is installed and securely screw it in. Everything turned out perfectly. At the same time, I should clean this area, because it's very difficult to get to it when the engine is mounted. I put the bellows on the pipe. I haven't changed them. They are in good condition. Now I'm starting to move the engine to put it back in place. I filmed this with two cameras, thinking about which one would look better and be more understandable for the video. But then I decided to use both cameras in one video and make it a frame within a frame. The engine is in place and can be lowered. It stands exactly in its place. Before securing the engine, it needs to be centered. Mount the motor coaxially with the drive shaft. For this, I use a shaft like this one. It imitates the drive shaft, thus aligns the motor. With this device, I won't have to worry about the engine being crooked and then being unable to install the drive. The engine is secured and all the bolts are tightened. Now I have to completely disassemble and remove my homemade crane. It started to rain here, and I have to cover everything from the rain. I started the assembly with the power wires, minus 12 volts. Now it's the turn of the connectors. It's good that they are all different. It wouldn't hurt to organize the wiring a little. I install the seawater intake pipe and tighten the clamp on it. I am installing the gear shift mechanism, but without the shift cable yet. It still needs to be replaced. A little more wiring organize. Now it's time to install the bellows. I put the clamps on them, pull them up to the upper elbow and secure them with the clamps. I install the right bellows in exactly the same way as the left one. The power wire plus 12 volts come to the starter. I am done with the port side engine. Now I'll move onto the starboard side one. I am fixing the hatch differently. Now it's held by ratchet straps only, and nothing will get in my way. I start disassembling from the connectors. Next, I disconnect the bellows. And pull them down onto the exhaust pipe. I disconnect the water heater from the engine cooling system. And start to unscrew the mounts, front and rear. With the engine disconnected and unbolted completely, I can now assemble my homemade crane on the starboard side. I already have some experience, so everything goes faster and easier. Now the engine is out of the way, and I have enough room to get to the pipe. I can start unscrewing it. The same for bolts, and the pipe fell into my hands. The condition of this pipe is just as bad as previous one from the port side engine. It's all full of holes. I also removed the old gasket, cleaned the surface, coat it with silicone, install a new gasket and mount the new pipe. I am reinstalling the gearshift mechanism. It turns out I didn't have to remove it. The cable is long enough. The paint on the elbows of this engine was peeling, so I had to scrap off the old paint and repaint them. They look much better now. I install the elbows and begin moving the engine. Before tightening the engine mounting bolts, I center the engine relative to the drive. And now I can tighten the engine mounts, bolts and nuts. The shaft is not clamped, which means the engine is not skewed, and I can continue assembly. I am completely disassembling and taking my crane to the garage. I think I'll still need it in the future. Now that nothing is in the way, I install the bellows, connect all the hoses, wires and connectors, just like on the portside engine. Replacing the gasket is now a routine and isn't considered work. I lubricate the shaft and begin to push the drive into its place. The drive is installed and now it needs to be tightened with 6 nuts. Oil quality sensor, shift cable, tilt cylinders, plastic cover, and now I have finally installed the propellers, and the right side is completely ready. Now I am moving onto the left side. First I'll replace the gasket as well. After gasket, lubrication of the shaft. Next, installation the drive. Six drive mounting nuts. Cylinders mounting pins. cotter pins. Shift cable. Oil quality sensor. I install props back in place. I install the cover on last. And that's it. The left side is also ready. I am checking if everything is working correctly. Another detail was left unattached. I am taking apart the decking. And all that's left is to install the seats and table on the boat. That's all for now. This renovation is successfully completed.